so this meeting is being recorded, so we will just let people join as they join because we've had some technical issues. Oh, let me turn my camera on. So I am particularly excited about tonight's meeting. Here comes the people. They're coming on in. And so I'm really excited that you guys are here, are joining us. I have our co-host, Mr. Ronald Pruitt, who I have had the pleasure of working with for the past, I want to say 3 years that we've been with For a Good Cause. And it has been life-changing for our organization, for Tumani DC. And as you guys know, I am just fully invested, fully committed to helping all of us secure funding for our organizations and sustain our mission. And I think that right now we're just in very critical times, unprecedented times where we're seeing an influx of our nonprofit friends, our organizations, and even I can say my organization has been directly impacted by recent budget cuts. And so I'm just excited that we're in this space, that we're in community together, that we get to get some new resources, some new tools. So, you guys know, even though I love coaching and teaching and sharing, I'm excited to be a student this evening. So, I am really here to just do introductions, to set the tone for the meeting. This is a space where you can ask your questions that you may have. So please feel free to drop your questions in the chat, and we will be sure to answer the questions as there is a natural pause in the presentation or either at the end of the presentation. But this is exciting because if you've ever talked to me, coaching, impactpreneur community, you know that one of the things I always say is fundraising is not my strongest area when it comes to like individual donors. I'm really good with grants and securing partnerships and strategy around that, like even government contracts. But I've always wanted to just get better at really cultivating donor relationships. And I think even taking it to the next level, sometimes we have this ask for a one-time donation. And when I saw Ron like just teaching and training and sharing content through For a Good Cause, his platform, about the importance of, listen, let's skip over the one-time donation and let's just go straight to a monthly donation or monthly gift. I said, wow, that makes sense because what if we got 10 monthly donors to give $20 a month or even $30 a month? That goes a long way, guys, if you can depend on those dollars every single month. So I'm excited to be here. This meeting is being recorded because I know that some people are going to have to leave early, and then we had some technical issues, and there's going to be folks that's going to join us throughout the meeting. So I'm going to just pass the mic so that we can maximize our time and introduce you all to Mr. Ronald Pruitt, who is the CEO and founder of For a Good Cause.
Portia, thank you. Appreciate everybody being here. And Portia, thanks for inviting me. I'm really excited to talk to your audience and hopefully I'll be as good a teacher as you. I know you are to your cohort and the people that you work with. I know they're getting a lot from working with you, and I hope I'm up to your level and we can learn a lot together tonight. So my plan is I'm going to share my screen. We're going to kind of go through a monthly giving 101 primer on what is this recurring giving and how you guys can take advantage of it. We'll talk a little bit about uh, it's good for donors, it's good for the nonprofit, how to start a program, how to grow a program, and then we're going to have some time, to take questions. And we've got a small group in here tonight, so we can when I get through my thing, we can make this into a little consulting session if anybody wants to. I'm happy to take any questions as we go through this. So, all right, I'm going to share my screen. Looks like I got a request to share, so you might need to give me permission to do that. All right, looks like you've given me permission. I'm going to jump into my slide presentation. I always need to hide the floating meeting controls there and pull this down as well. So, yeah, we're going to be talking about mastering monthly giving. Um, just little introductions here. I am Ronald Pruitt. I'm the president and founder of For a Good Cause. I've been helping nonprofits for over 25 years now, in various capacities as a web designer, consultant, now as a software CEO. And my expertise really is in trying to make giving easy for both donors and the nonprofit. And I think once we go through this, I think you'll see that adding monthly giving to what you're doing is a way that you can make your fundraising easier than it is now. My company, For Good Cause, we are a fundraising platform software that specializes in monthly giving. So we have a lot of tools for that. We have help nonprofits all over the United States in all shapes and sizes, and you can find us at forgoodcause.com. So where we're going to start is, oops, we're going to start by diving into what some of the data is telling us about monthly giving and what it's telling us about the habits of donors and how that's been changing over the last few years. So let's start by looking at one-time giving, and we're kind of diving into the 2025 M&R benchmark study. This is a study that comes out every year. I certainly recommend kind of benchmarking your own nonprofit against this study. And what they've reported from 2023 to 2024 is revenue from one-time donations is completely flat. And I'm sure a lot of people are kind of watching trends and seeing the budget cuts and giving is not in great shape for 2025 either. So people are still making one-time donations, and that's great. But if you are kind of looking around to see where am I going to get growth in the next year, one-time donations is probably not where you're going to find that. Now, the good news is that monthly giving is on the rise. It increased 5% from 2023 to 2024, and it now accounts for 31% of all the online revenue. And this is not just a one-year thing. Over the last 3 or 4 years, we have seen monthly giving consistently outperform any gains in one-time donations. From 2022 to 2023, all giving was actually down, whereas monthly giving rose 6%. If you look at a study from Dataro, their 2024 recurring giving benchmark report, they show that recurring donors can bring in almost 2.5 times more revenue to your organization than single gift donors. So this is something that's working. It's one of the few things in the fundraising space that is working. I think probably something else that's kind of growing right now is donor advised fund giving. That and monthly giving, that's really kind of what's driving any kind of revenue growth across the board for nonprofits. Now, why is this happening? Now, if you're like me, you probably have a lot of subscriptions, Netflix, Spotify, HBO Max, Hulu, whatever it is. You're used to paying for things monthly. You're used to subscriptions. And that has been growing in the economy over the last decade. We've seen a explosion, 435% expansion of this type is part of the economy. It's going to reach 1.5 trillion by the end of the year. People are just becoming conditioned that they're not buying things on a one-time basis. They are buying things on subscription. And that is naturally bled into charitable giving. Why not your nonprofit being another subscription that they will subscribe to, just like Netflix and Spotify? It's naturally very easy for a donor. It's affordable. They could come in at $5 a month, $10 a month, 15, whatever works for their budget. It's completely automated, so there's not a lot of work on their side. It's easy, and it's something that donors are leaning into. It's something, as we saw on the previous side, that's growing because they're just getting used to doing all of their commerce in this way. So we see that, okay, this is something that donors want. It's easy and convenient for them. It's working across the nonprofit spectrum. Let's flip that. We know it's good for the donor. Let's talk about how it might be good for you and then how you would then convince the board and staff to embrace this and get started with monthly giving. The first thing that you have to understand is this: if you embrace this, you are going to raise more money, period. Um, I can't see the chat currently. I'm looking at my screen, but uh, tell Portia in the chat there if you like money, put a yes in there. I think every nonprofit likes money. They need more funds coming into their organization. The bottom line is with monthly giving, you can raise more. If you look at things like the lifetime value of that recurring donor versus that one-time donor, average lifetime value over $7,600, that's double the value over a lifetime for that one-time donor due to that automatic, consistent giving that they're giving to you. There's studies that show that a recurring donor will give to your organization on average for 8 years compared to just 2 years for the one-time giver. And that's when they're dropping out of your organization on average. That, of course, what ties to that is the retention rates, that these are loyal donors are giving small amounts automatically as long as you are doing the care and feeding of them. And we'll talk a lot about that. They're going to stick around. Retention rates, 83% on average versus 45% for single gift donors. Think about that as single gift donors. More than half that give to you this year are not going to give to you next year. It's even worse for first time online donors. Their retention rate is 23%. So over 70% of donors are not going to give to you next year. These are the types of donors that you want. And over time, they become legacy and planned givers for you. They are 6 times more likely to put your nonprofit in their will. That is a big thing. I have heard stories of the $10 a month donor that gave for 10 years and then put the nonprofit in their will. And oh, by the way, that was a $100,000 gift. So these are loyal people that you have the ability to have them stick around and cultivate them into larger donors, major donors. The second thing is, okay, we're raising more money, but we're raising it at lower cost, and the money is coming to you not in spurts, not just in the last 2 weeks of December. It's coming to you on a reliable, steady, predictable revenue stream every single month. And when you have that reliable stream coming on, that I kind of call it like a floor of money that it lifts up your floor, um, that you're able to plan. You have financial stability. You can actually make long-term plans and go out and try to say, okay, 3 months from now, we're going to be able to do this and plan for that. Most of the time, nonprofits are creating monthly giving programs to take unrestricted donations. So you can put this to general operations, emergencies, whatever you want to put it towards. Since the donations are coming to you in an automated fashion, automated by the processor, by your donation software, it's less effort to get these donations. If you get a one-time gift, think about the work that you have to do to go out and get that person to give to you again. That's a lot of work. It really is. And with this, if I know I get that first donation, well, that's going to come in automatically every single month going forward, as long as I keep that donor happy. That's a lot less work. And when you're creating less work in your organization, then guess who's happier? The staff. The staff is happier. They're less stressed. They spend less time having to worry about their jobs, about the stability of the nonprofit, about, gosh, I have to come up with a creative fundraising idea for next month, or we're not going to make payroll. It sets you up better for the long term with so much less stress. And I think the big thing currently, and Portia, you kind of talking about this, is monthly giving is going to protect you from the unknown, from the disaster, from the thing looming around the corner that you have no control over. Like, oh, the federal government is going to cut thousands and thousands of grants. Oh, the pandemic is here and now we can't do events. Oh, that foundation I was getting a grant for, well, they're not going to renew that. Or that major donor that was writing that $10,000 check to us every year, well, that person has passed on or is going to now give to another nonprofit. This recurring, reliable revenue you have, that floor that I was talking about, that's your fund. That means you always have that. You know what's coming in every month. You can respond to emergencies with that fund. That fund is steady, so it helps fill in the seasonal gaps that you have in your fundraising. You're not waiting until December to get all your donations because you've got that coming in all year. It makes you more risk tolerant because if you lose one monthly donor, that's okay because that was probably $10 a month or $50 a month. That's okay because you are dispersed across many small monthly givers. It's not the same as losing one major giver. So you're spreading out your risk. It just makes you more resilient to some unforeseen disaster that you just have absolutely no control over. I sometimes call monthly giving an insurance policy for your fundraising. Things can go wrong, but if you have a steady floor, like Portia said, if you've got 10 people giving you $100 a month, that's $1,000 a month that you can count on as long as you keep them happy. And we'll talk about that. Okay. So you've got some, this is why we know donors like this, nonprofits should like this as well. And these are some of the things that you can take to a board or staff and say, hey guys, we really need to lean into this. And that's really your next step. Is if you want to start a monthly giving program, you got to make the case internally. You want to get everybody involved in this. You want to get everybody on board. And if you take nothing else from this presentation, the thing that I want you to really think about is changing the mindset in your organization to become a recurring first nonprofit, a recurring first fundraiser. And what I mean by that is everywhere you are out asking for a donation, that the first donation that you ask for is a recurring one, a monthly gift. The one-time option should be secondary. And even if you're talking to a major donor that you hope is going to give you $10,000, monthly giving allows them to spread that out. And then over time, it will actually get a lot bigger than that. You can make monthly giving the focus of your individual giving. You're still probably going to do grants. You're still going to do all the other things you need to do to diversify. But monthly giving can be your main thing that you go to for individuals. You're telling them that this is the best way that you can support us. is to give us something every single month because that allows us to do the things that I mentioned before. Plan. We'll have a reliable budget. We'll be under less stress. We can do things that are long-term solutions because a lot of things, homelessness, food insecurity, all the things that nonprofits work on, those are not going away after that one-time gift. But if you join our recurring giving community, you can work on that with us long term. So adopt that mindset. You're going to go far with monthly giving. You obviously need to find somebody to lead this. So find a champion in your organization. Doesn't mean they're going to run everything. It just means that you've got one person that's keeping an eye on this and it's going to be accountable and can report to the higher ups. This is how we're doing. This is also a good time when you're thinking about embracing monthly giving to talk to your current donors and supporters and to really try to understand why they give. What motivates them to give? What would motivate them to uh, give on a regular basis, give on a monthly basis? There's a lot of things in my industry when I'm building software. I want to talk to a client. I want to understand what their needs are. Your donors are your clients in the same way that your program participants are your clients as well, and you want to listen to them and get feedback from them. And this is a good time to do that because you're going to take that feedback and those are going to be how you're going to market back to other donors to expand and grow this program. Uh, Got to determine what you're raising money for. You could be general operations that this money's going to go towards, could be a specific program. I will show an example of a nonprofit that has put a monthly giving program around a very specific program that they have. And then as you start, you want to set a goal. And that could be either how many donors do we hope to get, or what do we hope to raise per month? And that becomes your goal. And hopefully that's you're going to reach that. Gives them everybody something to cheer on, to work towards. And everything that I'm going to talk about is all attainable. I'm going to show you some really small nonprofits that are doing really, really well with this. All right, so let's get started building this monthly giving program or product because you kind of want to think of it like a product. Netflix, when you subscribe to that, you're paying Netflix. What do you get? You get streamed movies. With a nonprofit, your monthly giving product, I'm going to give you X dollars per month. What am I getting in return? I have now joined your community. I am a part of your mission. I am on this journey with you long term to help solve the problem that your nonprofit is looking to solve. And the first thing that you want to set up in this product is your offer. And that is an amount per month that you want people to join at. And then you're tying that to the impact that they can make at that level. So, for example, $10 a month helps fund, classroom supplies for one student. $25 a month helps fund tutoring sessions for one student. You're setting up the levels. This is not necessarily where you're going to spend the money. It's letting donors know the impact that they can make at that level. Hopefully, that they will want to be at a higher level because they see they can make a bigger impact. That's sort of like the price on your product. Now, you want to sweeten the deal a little bit by adding some donor benefits or donor perks. And I am not talking about anything that costs you money. I'm not talking about the really expensive tote bag. I'm not talking about sending them a a meal in the mail or they get there's so many things that I have seen nonprofits do. I'm not talking about any of that. I typically work with small nonprofits and I can tell you what donors really want as their perks is they want to feel part of your community and they want sort of exclusive access to you and content from you. So that could be that they get an exclusive newsletter once a month that tells them how their dollars are being put to work. They could be invited to a behind the scenes tour of your facility to see the work going on. They might get special volunteer opportunities. If you do want to give them a gift, make it really small, make it inexpensive. And probably if I'm going to go down that road, I'm going to give them something that's branded with my logo so that they can talk about me, talk about my nonprofit when they're out in the world. So you've got your offer, you've got some benefits that go with it. I do recommend that you brand your program. Give it a name. Because when you give it a name, people feel that they belong to that. I am a member of the Spring, which is Charity Water's monthly giving program. So on their site, it says, join the Spring, become a member of the Spring. It gives it a name, a moniker that I can be out somewhere and I can say, I'm a member of the Spring. I belong to the Spring. I joined the Spring. Because one of the big things that you want to do is foster community. You are not asking donors for a one-off transaction. You are not asking them to give you money. You are asking them to join your community. Come on this journey with me. Become my friend. Join this inner circle, this exclusive community of the most dedicated supporters. And you're going to treat them that way, regardless of whether they give the $10 a month or $1,000 a month. So build your product. The next thing we're going to do once we have your product in place is we want to get your tech right because in general, we want to make it easy for donors to enroll as a monthly giver, stay on as a monthly giver, and give more eventually, upgrade themselves as a higher level monthly giver. So we just built that offer. We've got our levels, we've got the impact you're going to make. We probably got a story of that kind of illustrates that impact. Well, that's got to go somewhere. And the first thing you want to do with technology is build a dedicated page on your website that shows that offer. And I'm going to show a couple of really great examples of that. A place dedicated on your site. Monthly giving is not a checkbox on your donation form that no one can find. You need to be out selling this offer. And again, I think it should be the lead offer. Um, a dedicated page on your site where you ask donors to join this community. From there, they're going to click on a page that allows to easily give a monthly gift. I think for a main donation form, the one that sits in the top donate, kind of that top right, the donate button that you should have on every page of your site, default that to a monthly gift. Again, be recurring first. Everywhere you ask for a donation, make that the default ask. Now, I know some people will say, well, gosh, what happens if a donor makes a mistake and actually gives a monthly gift instead of a one-time gift? That is a really a design issue. Um, it's not a strategy problem. If they do that, you can easily flip them back. But when you default to it, you're naturally going to get more people to fall into that category, which again, better retention rates, more money on the long term, which is this is what we're trying to do. You make the monthly gift easy across the site, easy to find, easy suggested giving levels. Make your choices simple. Sometimes I see donation forms that say, okay, I want to start my recurring donation on this date, and I'm only going to go for 6 months. And there's so many things you have to configure, you end up with decision fatigue. The way we do it, choose your amount, choose monthly, choose your amount. That's going to be charged today and then on the same day every month going forward for perpetuity. They'll be in control whether they want to cancel, but just keep it going. One thing I like to stress is think about your payment options. If you can get more people on bank transfer, ACH, e-check, whatever you want to call that, you'll do better because cards expire typically every 2 to 3 years. Bank accounts, most people keep those for 17 years on average. So getting them enrolled with ACH, you're going to have less payment issues. They're going to be giving to you longer. You won't have to worry about that as much. We also like to include a conversion pop-up offer. So if I check out with a one-time gift, I hit them with an offer like we see here on the screen to make it monthly. Uh, that's giving a little incentive, just a little kind of last, just like when you're at Walmart and you see the candy and the gum right by the checkout counter. It's the same idea. We're going to try to convert them to monthly. We are currently seeing this convert in 2025 at an 8% clip. So 8 out of 100 donors are automatically moving over to monthly. We did some math on that. If you got 100 donors giving $100 donation, and 8 of those move over to monthly, that over time you would have raised 10K, you're automatically going to move to 16,400 just by emphasizing monthly with your tech. And we'll talk about this, but a donor portal is going to go a long way as well to if you make it easier for people to manage that gift, the more likely they are to enroll. Portia, if you could drop a link in the chat to this. Like I say, I've been helping nonprofits for many years, and over the years, I've identified almost 100 best practices that fall into like 13 characteristics of a great donation page. This is a checklist for that you can use to kind of audit your donation page against these best practices. We have a bonus section in there that we'll talk about specifically about monthly giving and how to optimize for that. So you can kind of see whether is my donation page going to turn donors away because we can do all this other stuff that we're talking about to start this program. You could do everything right. You can have a fantastic offer, but when they get to the donation page and if it's hard to give, then they're not going to give. So you want to benchmark yourself against that, just generally for donations, and then benchmark yourself against how well are you emphasizing a recurring monthly donation. I have built or seen thousands of pages, donation pages, so use this to benchmark what you've got. If you want to talk about your donation page, you want me to do an audit or speak to anybody, I'm always happy to do that. Um, Kind of go through the checklist together. Always happy to do that. So, all right, let's look at a couple of examples because I'm talking about these offers, and I think it makes sense if we take a look at a couple of small nonprofits who both have done the work to create this dedicated web page that is going to present this offer. And we'll take a look at kind of really the simplicity of that and what they did. So let me come to here and we'll go. Let's start here. Hopefully you're seeing this. We are on the website for the Guardian Angel Basset Rescue. So this is a group in Illinois that rescues basset hounds. And they have a monthly giving program called Basset Friend Forever, BFF. It's a fantastic name for a monthly giving program. And you can see they highlight it directly on the homepage and ask you to join. If I do click here, this does get me to their dedicated page where they present this offer and why you should join. So they have a lot of great imagery, nice headlines. Their offer, they're focusing on a single amount. You can focus on a single amount per month, or you can have multiple levels. The next example that I show will have multiple levels. So they're focused on $25 a month. That's what they want you to join at. And the impact that they're tying to that is it's going to pay for that first vet appointment and shots. Now, of course, they have expenses past that, and this money's not going to go get paid for that always, but that is just a really clear understanding of the impact that I can make as a donor. So if I'm doing $25 a month, I know that each month when a dog comes into the shelter, that my 25 bucks is going to pay for that initial vet appointment and shots as this dog gets processed into the system. That is really simple and smart. A lot of great imagery here. They are kind of trying to make that emotional connection. You know, floppy ear scratches, wagging tails, or trying to, talk about, that every rescue is a journey of love. I like that they go ahead and tell you what it costs to take care of these dogs, $1,700 um, for the vet care, typically through their system. You can see they have buttons as you go down the page that are going to bring you into the donation form. They're talking about the impact. They're illustrating the impact that you can make by telling a specific story about Charlie. I love this because, where is my money going to go if I join this program? Well, they're very specific about that. We're going to rescue these hounds. We're going to provide the vet care, and we're going to find them forever homes. They have a really great testimonial, and one thing I love about this is it demonstrates the community aspect because this donor says they have loved becoming part of the GABR family. Um, you want donors to speak to you. I'm going to mention that again here in just a moment. But anytime that you can emphasize that this is a community that you've joined and there are already people in this community, then you're going to get more people taking advantage of this offer. Let's take a look at the next nonprofit. This is a group called KidWorks. This is a nonprofit in California that gets students ready for college. They have a monthly giving program that they call the Honor Roll. I like this as well. I like that they said you're giving the gift of college and career readiness. So they're tying, hey, I give a gift. This is the impact here. They placed a nice little video on this. It kind of is a nice introduction to them. They are using words like join. They are saying that these monthly donors are dedicated. Again, you want to kind of sell the concept that if you action to get that there. They've done a great job with levels. They have 4 levels that they are promoting from $5 a month to $50 a month. They're very explicit about the impact that that you can make at each level. I like that they've kind of given each level a name. I think that's kind of cool as well. So that's their offer. Let's look at their perks. These are great because it's nothing that costs you any money here. Quarterly shareholder meetings with leadership. So they're saying, hey, if you're in this club, we're going to want your input and we're going to have discussions with you and share kind of how your dollars are being used. A monthly kind of student highlight newsletter. Again, I get to see my dollars at work. And then VIP access to volunteer and engagement opportunities. So if I'm in this monthly giving program, I'm going to get asked first to come to an event, to be a volunteer. Again, you're selling the idea that, hey, this is the best group of supporters for us. I love that they have a dedicated support person here. So if you do have questions about your donation, you know exactly who to reach out to. We're going to talk about retention. And then they list out their founding members. These are the people that are kind of the early givers to this organization. And it's good to recognize them. And they have a nice quote. Again, social proof that's going to encourage other people to give. All right. All right. So if you've got all that in place, you're ready to launch your program. And to do that, you're really going to do a kind of personal ask. So I bet everybody in this room knows 25 people that if you went to them and said, hey, I need something from you, I need you to help me, that they probably would say yes. These are board members, volunteers, longtime supporters, people who give consistently. Those are the people you want to look in your database for, look in your Rolodex for, and then when you're launching this kind of program, you want to make a personal ask to them. So you're not blasting out a broadcast email to everybody that says the same thing. You're making a personal ask in person, over the phone, personal email that, hey, you, Rob, I want you to join this program because I know you are our best supporter. I know you can be an ambassador for us. You can lead the charge. We want you to be a founder of our monthly giving program. Once you have them giving, give them that special recognition on that dedicated page, like we just saw with KidsWorks, a listing of the founders. After they've been given a few months, get those testimonials, like this one here as an example from Rob. Um, have them say why they give. Again, that's social proof. If I know somebody's already giving into this program, that makes me more likely to give. I'm just like Rob. I care about the same thing. I want to join too. So get those testimonials, get those online, get those out in your marketing materials that you use out on social, out in the emails that you send out, that so that other people will want to join in to these initial 25 people. If you already have maybe a monthly giving program or you have a few monthly givers, maybe you're kind of sitting at 5 or 10 or you're definitely kind of below that 25. I should also mention that you have an opportunity here to kind of analyze what's working and what's not before you kind of do like a relaunch. You could take those initial handful of monthly donors that you have, go back to them, say thank you to them again, label them founders, put them on the site, get the quotes from them. It's kind of like you have an opportunity to relaunch if you feel like your monthly giving program has gotten a little stagnant. If you go back and do that, you'll get some of that great marketing quotes and stuff that's going to help you go back and grow, which is what we're talking about now. You want to grow, obviously, from those first 25 and grow to the general public and acquire new donors into this program. So again, recurring first means you're going to put this offer everywhere you're already talking. I'm not, you don't really have to come up with a lot of new things. You just, once you have your offer, you're going to rinse and repeat it everywhere that you talk about asking for a donation. So let's say you do four email blasts per year. Well, make those email blasts a recurring gift ask first. One time becomes secondary. If you do social media campaigns, maybe you're doing something at the end of the year, talk about monthly giving on social media, share stories of donors that are giving to you already on a monthly basis. Talk about how a monthly donation helps you get stable revenue. We can plan long term. Our mission doesn't go away tomorrow. We need your help long term. So on social, email, on your website, leverage those partner relationships. Get in front of corporations that you work with. I think events probably are the number one place for you to recruit new recurring donors. A lot of times, if people will have a gala or something like that, they will say, "Well, I'm going to get my ticket revenue and I get my sponsorship revenue, and that's it." But all of that is a one-time thing. And those things also, they take a lot of work putting that stuff together just to get a one-time return. If you combine an event with a monthly giving ask, not only will you get all that upfront revenue, but you also can also get long-term revenue. So that means at the event, You have cards there that just talk about why you should give monthly, and you have a link to the donation page that allows you to easily give. You have a monthly giving donor stand up and say, "This is why I give monthly. I want you to join me on this journey. I want you to become a BFF like me. Here's what you're going to get out of it, and here's how the nonprofit is going to succeed with this." Events are great because they have bought that ticket. By buying that ticket, they say, "I love your nonprofit. I love your organization, and I'm going to come and be in person and speak with you, and you got to take that love and you got to turn that into long-term support." One thing also a lot of nonprofits do is they will try to work to convert that one-time giver to a monthly giver. And the best time to do that really is in the first few weeks after they make their first ever one-time gift. Because you are fresh in their mind. They just, gave you that love. You're still fresh in their mind. And so what a lot of nonprofits do, they'll hit them with a welcome series. Now that could be an email that says thank you, then an email that says, "Hey, you made a fantastic impact with that $100 you gave us. We're able to, feed, three families this week." And then later you come back and you say, "You know, you're making a great impact. You can feed 10 families if you give monthly every month. You can make a bigger impact on our mission if you give monthly every single month." So think recurring first. Really focus on selling the program when you have people in front of you, like an event, and come up with a process where you can communicate to that one-time donor that you're really grateful and they can do even more for you if they give on a regular basis. Now you'll be getting more donors into the funnel, but we got to make sure that the bucket doesn't have a leak in the bottom and you're losing donors out the other way. So you got to keep these recurring givers that are giving, we got to keep them giving. And there's two things that we want to avoid: voluntary churn and involuntary churn. Voluntary churn is when they say, I'm going to quit. I don't want to give anymore. They're voluntarily making a decision to leave your program. Involuntary churn is, "Well, I didn't mean to leave. My card failed and no one told me about it, and now I'm gone." I can't tell you how many stories that I have of a nonprofit that a payment failed, and sometimes the way the processors work, the payment will still try to go through every single month, and you'll see that, "Oh, well, it's been trying to process this card for 3 years, and we never got in touch with the donor to get the new card information." So we got to keep donors giving. The first thing you can do is really focus on being thankful. So that's not just the automatic email that's going to come out from with the receipt from when they make an online gift. That's a default. You got to have that. But if you follow up with that in the first couple of days with a personal email, phone call, maybe a postcard dropped in the mail, some type of personal gratitude and welcome. Say, "Thanks for joining our monthly giving program. Thanks for becoming a BFF." That's going to go a long way. That's going to, boom, immediately start that retention work happening for you. I do recommend that you set up your system to send receipts every single month. A lot of nonprofits think that monthly giving is set it and forget it. And boy, if I talk to that donor, if I send them a receipt, they are going to leave. And that is not the case. If you ignore them, that's when they leave because they think you don't care about them. So, with the gratitude and the automatic receipts that go out every single month, they feel welcome. And then you're training them every single month that we are charging your card. And so you get used to seeing, "Hey, it went through this month. It went through, it went through, it went through." So when it doesn't, they'll be more prone to take action on that. As I mentioned before, one of the perks that you got to deliver on is demonstrating the impact. How are they making an impact with their dollars? That's typically through a regular newsletter that you're sending them over email. I know some nonprofits are still sending print, email, print, whatever works for you. Something simple. Um, you got to build community. That's one of the biggest things with this is there is a social aspect to joining this club, to joining as a monthly giver. You're asking them to join that community, so you have to foster community. So I recommend putting on small, just really small little events that don't cost you a lot of money, where you just bring these people together. They want to be friends with each other. They're joining your mission because they have the same beliefs. They want to get to know each other. So bring them in for a facility tour. Have a board member have a little backyard barbecue. Have them come on Zoom once a quarter so that you can get feedback from them, like we saw with KidWorks. That community is going to bring them closer to you, and they're more likely going to stay with you over time. And obviously, we need the tech to help us to keep the payments firing. So you need tools like an account updater service that once a month it talks to Visa and MasterCard and says, hey, is this card about to expire? I need the new expiration date. It'll do that automatically. You need to give donors control through their own donor accounts so that they can update their gift and even cancel if they need to. Um, you can't rely on tech all the time, though. You know, even systems like For Good Cause will send a payment failure alert, like we see on the screen here. But donors sometimes ignore it. Sometimes they ignore the reminder that comes 7 days later and another one that comes 7 days later. I recommend that you have that staff person check in on your recurring subscriptions once a week or so. Just see if anything is flagged. See if you see, oh, wait, this had a payment failure. That tells you to personally reach out by email, maybe a phone call, maybe a quick postcard in the mail. Say, hey, we don't want to lose you. Call us. Let's get your new card information. Let's get that in the system. Let's keep working on this. We want to keep you in our community so we can keep working on this mission all year long. The third stool of this, and a lot of nonprofits, they're very focused on acquisition, maybe a little less on retention, and less on this third stool that can really grow your monthly giving program, and that's upgrades. That's getting existing recurring donors to give more per month. And the best time to ask for an upgrade, typically 10 to 12 months after their initial ask. Once a year is typically a good time to ask for an upgrade. You could put a little flag in your database. Oh, this person is a January monthly donor. So that tells you in January to reach out to them and ask for a bump up in their gift. You're typically looking for about a third of what they're giving. So if I was giving 10, you might ask that donor to go to 13. You're selling them on the upgrade by boom, thanking them. You're making a great impact. Here's the impact you're making. You can do even more with just a small increase in your donation. We'll be able to take this program to another level. You'll be able to feed more families. You'll be able to do this. We've really appreciated you, and hopefully you'll get them to upgrade. You want to make it as easy as possible for them. If you have them on the phone, that's easy. You do it in the back end for them. If you're sending out an email, put a button in there that sends them to a page where they can easily check what they want to upgrade to and click confirm. This is something that we've done here for Good Cause. We have something called upgrade links. Every donor, every subscription has a unique URL. You send that donor to that page. It welcomes them, tells them thank you, you're making a great impact, and gives them like a 25%, 33%, and 50% choice, or they can upgrade to anything if they want to. Choose that, click confirm, and they're giving that the next month. So you're bringing new donors into your program. I think, again, having people in front of you, and that's a good time to ask, to make those asks. You also can have existing donors kind of bring a friend to these little informal get-togethers. You're working on retention to keep them going, and then you're working on upgrades. The technology is helping you along the way. This really is, I kind of talk about monthly giving as an easier way to fundraise because it really is. Because you come up with that offer and you are just going to repeat that offer everywhere. And you do not have to as much. You might still differ, you might still diversify in lots of ways, but you don't have to be sitting, have a meeting where you're like, we need a creative fundraising idea. What can we do? Can we do a car wash? Can we do a this? Can we do a pancake breakfast? Can we do this? Because that's hard. That's hard to be creative and always chasing new donors and new one-time donations. It's hard, but with this, you're just saying, we got a community we want you to join, and we want you to join at 25 a month. And you repeat that message everywhere. And then you keep that donor happy, and they will give to you for years and years. And if they're happy, they'll also upgrade and give you a little more each month, year after year. I think it's an easier way to fundraise, and it's a pretty straightforward kind of strategy for individual giving. Let's look at an example. I want to kind of go through the River Crossing YMCA because I want to emphasize this aspect of community. This is a YMCA that's in New Jersey and Pennsylvania. They have a monthly giving program called the Cause Membership. And they call it a membership, but it's not like a YMCA gym membership. This is a philanthropic membership. They have a program called the Pathways program that is not really inside the Y, it's outside the Y in the neighborhoods surrounding the Y, where they go out and they work with other organizations that help teens, cancer survivors, seniors, things like that. And this program is great for them because, um, again, it fosters community between the Y and the surrounding areas that they are in. This serves about 15,000 individuals. They launched this in 2022. They were coming out of the pandemic and they thought, gosh, what can we do in our surrounding community to bring those closer to us, to build community? And this is kind of what they came up with. And this has been really successful for them. They got 173 recurring donors signed up for the cause membership in the first week. You can be a cause member at a minimum of $10 a month. So it's very easy and affordable for donors to join. How did they kind of get there? They did some targeted email to the YMCA members. And then they really did adopt a recurring first mindset because when you would go into the Y, there would be literature that you could take about the program. If you joined as a gym member, you would get a welcome packet to tell you about cause membership. The staff was incentivized to talk about it. They actually had a little competition between the board and the staff who was going to raise the most money, who was going to get more members signed up. And they had little, fun little things, incentives for them to do that. They would sell the concept of joining with the impact that you were going to make, that we're going to be able to go out in the community. We're going to be able to help these seniors and cancer survivors. We're going to be able to go out and do the work. And the thing I love best about this is the perks. And to me, it's unique. I think they had the normal stuff where, okay, yeah, you get a newsletter, Impact newsletter. They actually have a little web page that you can log into and it'll tell you about the impact that your dollars are making. You got access to some extra wellness classes at the Y, sure. But the interesting thing to me is the biggest benefit is that you get to be a volunteer in their Pathways programs. So, as a cause member, you get an opportunity to go out with them into the community, to serve the seniors and cancer survivors and teens and everybody that they're working with in these programs. And that's an exclusive opportunity. There's so many nonprofits that we just can't get volunteers. We can't get volunteers. And here's an organization that you're basically paying to be a volunteer because they've set this up as a like a exclusive perk of being in this program. And I just think that's amazing. And it also, if you are a cause member and you go out and do the volunteer stuff, then you're even closer to the impact that you're making. You're closer to the organization. That means you're probably going to stay. You're probably going to continue to give. I just think this is a wonderful idea and a wonderful concept. So, things to remember, if nothing else, go back to your organization and say, we need to be recurring first. We need to put a monthly giving offer out everywhere we're talking, everywhere we are, everywhere we're making our pitch. We're going to make that a recurring first pitch. You got to make it easy to enroll. So that means easy donation pages. That means it's got to be easy to find this offer on your website. Um, I would say focus on retention and upgrades, focus less on acquisition. If you are going to be recurring first and you're out talking about your monthly giving program, you're naturally going to acquire new donors into the program. So I would focus most of my attention on keeping the donors that you have happy, and that's keeping them up to date, fostering community with them. And then if you're doing that, then you'll have an opportunity to get upgrades. And along the way, technology is going to be your friend. It's going to help you, but the more human you are, the more gratitude you show, the more that you make this feel like a group of real people who have just come together to be in this community because they like each other, they like to have fun with each other, they like to laugh, they like to come into these little informal events. That's gonna serve you really well long term. We have a ton of resources on our blog. Portia, I gave you a link. I think um, that was an article on our blog about what you can learn from large nonprofits as a small nonprofit. Feel free to drop that or drop this link here, forgoodcause.com/blog. We have a ton of resources there, guides on monthly giving, how to start a program, how to grow your program, all kinds of stuff are available there. Let's do some Q&A. Um, Portia, if there's questions in the chat, I'm gonna try to open this also.
Well, I saw a couple of
This.
hands raised and then they kind of put their hands down. So if you guys
Let's
want to,
pull
because we
let's
were
pull
just
those
flowing,
questions.
it
Yeah,
was
let's pull
flowing
those
so
questions
well.
back out.
So, if you guys who had your hand raised, I know Brody, you had your hand raised for a second. So if you guys who had your hand raised, you can go ahead and just unmute and ask your questions. This was so good, Ron. I
It was absolutely fabulous. And it was so good that once I raised my hand, my question was answered in the course. So thank you, Brother Ron, for going through those details. Just to note, my question was surrounded, the best way of soliciting the monthly giving versus the one time. And of course, you you pinpointed that several times in the course. So I think I gained that knowledge on how I need to handle that moving forward.
Yeah, and Charles, thanks for being here. It's good to see you.
Absolutely. Nice to see you and nice presentation.
Thank you. Yeah, it's really um, you're really just tweaking your current ask just a little bit. If you say that, like in your case, make a donation so that we can go out and mentor young men, then you're twisting it a little bit. Join our community and join us in this journey of mentoring young men. Your monthly gift gives us the stable resources that we need to create the educational workshops, to be out in the community doing the work that we need to. At $25 a month, we can serve X number of young men over the course of the year. won't you join us on this journey and become part of whatever the name is?
My goodness, Ron. I mean, as you was going through it, I was taking notes on incorporating because we got the fundraiser coming up next month,
Hmm.
and I mean, literally, almost word for word, what you just said is what I took note of.
Yeah, and Charles, you're still in sort of that initial stage. So be thinking
Yes,
about those personal asks. Think about who those 25 people who you know are loyal to you, just part of that inner community that you've known for years, that support you, and think about how you can personally invite them into your cause. And that's going to give you that starting foundation that I say, like you can build from. And then who do they know?
absolutely,
And who do they know? Yeah.
absolutely. One follow up question, then I'm gonna release myself on the floor.
Sure.
Um, is it wise to put a dollar amount on it?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, because you want to tie it to the impact that you can make. Now, it may not be very as specific as like a food insecurity charity that says X amount of dollars equals X amount of meals or families we can feed, that kind of thing. It may not be as specific, but putting a dollar amount on it allows people to understand what's typical to join, what you're looking for. Donors like to have their hand held in that manner, and they want to see the impact that they can make at that level. So the impact might be a little more generic for certain nonprofits, but um, you need to have the level plus the impact that makes your offer.
Nice, nice, perfect, perfect.
Mhm.
Thank you so much, brother Ron. I appreciate it. I definitely enjoyed.
Thank you. Thanks for being here. Any other questions? Anything
So
anybody
I
else?
um I sent
Um,
a few people the link to join the meeting, Ron. So there's a
Hmm.
for some reason I said Zoom has been crazy today. So there's several people in here that say Portia Richardson because of the link I sent them. So if I tried to send direct messages like, "Hey, change your name in Zoom." So if when you ask your question, if you are one of the people whose name is showing up in here as Portia Richardson, because of the link I sent you as a reminder, can you guys just unmute yourself and share your name as well?
Yeah. As you do that, I'm going to put my email in the chat. Um, I'm always happy to, anybody wants to follow up, ask questions offline. Um, oops, if I could type correctly, that's better. Not so many A's in there.
Any other
Um,
questions, guys? Ask away.
yeah, yeah, I had a question. You
sure.
kind of made me exit the last comment you made, but as far as like tying a specific ask to a goal, like how successful have you seen that play out? Or is it even like a good idea to tie it to a specific goal?
Do you mean we're trying to recruit, 10 monthly givers in the next 30 days or something like that?
Or like more specifically, I just made some business cards that I probably need to change because of this training, but on it I have like a monthly giving of $25 will help sponsor a mindfulness workshop for one child or something like that.
Ooh, that's good.
Okay.
That's
Okay.
real good. I like that. Yeah, and
Okay, good.
when you put that per month with it, that's
Mm-hmm.
we could
Mm-hmm.
do that every month. We could do that
Yeah.
every month. I like that. Yes. That's a great example.
Thank you.
Because you're tying it even down to the beneficiary.
Mm-hmm.
That's fantastic. Yeah.
Cool. Thank you.
We're gonna pull you up next time and just have you teach that part. So I like that. That's great. Yeah. Well, I mean, if there's no other questions, I mean, my email is there. That's that second one I typed in, not the mistypo there. You can find us at forgoodcause.com. go to our blog. We got lots of resources there. If anybody has follow-up questions or just wants to chat about fundraising or monthly giving or really anything, I'm happy to take any follow-up questions or have follow-up chats. I really appreciate being here, Portia. Thank you, and to everybody in the audience, thanks for what you're doing in your communities. You're changing the world. The world's pushing back, but you're still doing it. So,
Thank you so much, Ron. And I know y'all, Ron is like one of the okay, so Ron did not brag about For a Good Cause enough, but I'm gonna go ahead and put it out there. If you're in my community, you've heard me talk about For a Good Cause. I don't bring a lot of people into our community to just share and to talk unless I can personally vouch for their work, their software, their programs. And one of the things that I loved about For a Good Cause when I first signed up for the software with for Tumani 3 years ago was that Ron was the person who like onboarded me, and I was able to really just like ask all of my questions. He made himself available to help me set up my platform because it were initially I was just using like PayPal, so I'm like, okay, now we have this nice robust platform, and I want to make sure that I'm really maximizing its use. And so I think the biggest thing that I always say when I talk about which platform you're going to use, which software you're going to use, is that we want to make sure that we can leverage our dollars. And so one of the biggest gaps for our organization was that when we were using PayPal and things like that, they were basically charging us for every single gift. There was a fee. And then also, I know like even when you're selling like event tickets, many of you have done like events and galas and things like that. Even if you have to, if you're forced to use something like Eventbrite, they're gonna take a fee for every ticket you sell. And so, what I loved about For a Good Cause is that it is a comprehensive software where even for our amazing sneaker ball gala that is coming up soon, shameless plug,
keep
we're able
selling, keep selling.
right. We're able to, we're able to even sell our tickets through For a Good Cause. And we pay a monthly subscription to For a Good Cause. So whether we get $10,000 or $1 million in gifts, the subscription amount is the same. So it's not charging me every time someone makes a gift through that platform or even for our event. We have a whole event page for our sneaker ball that is on For a Good Cause. And I'm actually going to show you guys. And so even on this, like this is the event page. It looks like a ticket page. And so I just had the pleasure of working on this and finalizing this for our event in December. We do this annually. And so we can have our ticket levels on here. People can purchase as many tickets as they like. There's drop downs where we can share like what each ticket includes and even like our sponsorship levels. So sponsors can also just easily pay for their sponsorship through For a Good Cause. Even though with sponsors, we are really being intentional about like vetting them and like meeting with them to make sure it's mutually beneficial before they move forward with this part of the process. But I just think it's amazing that it's so comprehensive that we can do all of these things. And honestly, I was not able to find anything like this. This is not an ad. I don't get paid by Ron to do any of this. I just love putting us in the space where we can get the resources because if we don't know, we don't know. And so I hope that you guys will just like consider For a Good Cause. It is the only platform that I always share with you all. And so I'm glad Ron, my community, they've heard about For a Good Cause. And so many of them were coming in just to like meet you and get to know more as well as just about your approach and the way that the offerings that you have. And so, guys, please go on there. You can go on the site. You can schedule a demo. You can even like email Ron directly and just say, "Hey, I have more questions," or can you just do a demo and walk me through the site and show me all of the amazing things that For a Good Cause offers. And I love it. We look. I always say we are here for the long haul because it's definitely been a solution to a lot of the challenges that we had with raising dollars. And it has really helped us tremendously. So thank you for sharing all of your greatness. And now I have a lot of homework because I'm over here like, Lord, I just sent someone a link this morning to a one-time gift. And I'm like, hello, ma'am, you're doing a whole webinar today on this. And so it's just a habit. It's a habit that we have to build. And I love that you said mindset. I am working to transform and shift my own mindset to be in the space of one of monthly giving. And so I have to build out my monthly giving program. That's the other thing. I don't have the monthly giving offer available. So I need to build out my monthly giving offer. I already came up with a name. It's going to be called the Impact Insider. So,
Ooh,
of
there we
that.
go. I like it.
Yes, and so I'm excited to build out that program, and I know the offer, and I know it's going to be exciting. And I just love the takeaway of building community and making it a community, a real social community, and people to feel together. I feel like we do a good job of like sending newsletters and updates and content, and donors love things like that. One thing that I also do, guys, is I send out a personalized holiday card every year. Everybody knows they're going to get this handwritten card from me. And when I see people, they always say, I always know I'm gonna get that handwritten card from you every year, and they appreciate it. But I need to go a little deeper than that, like inviting our donors out to come into our program space, to volunteer with us, to come to dinner, to do, a hangout, meetups, and things like that. So I need to think bigger in terms of this being more of a social group, a membership, a club, and I know that that feels like a lot, guys. It feels like another thing to do, but it really isn't. If you think about some of the things that you're already doing, I think we just got to get creative about how we can engage our givers in what we're already doing. So I'm excited. I have a lot of homework. So if you guys want a thought partner and be accountability partners on building out these offers, this is something that we can do together. So thank you so much, Ron. Thank you, everybody, for showing up, for joining tonight. And I'm just really excited for everybody's future.
Yeah, Portia, thanks for having me. Thanks for all the kind words. And that gives me an idea, maybe a few months down the line, let's get these folks back together. I can come back and we can kind of say where's everybody at, and we can look at each other's programs and see, oh, how are you doing? What are you doing? And what are you doing? And maybe share some ideas and kind of go from that starter to the next level. Hey, another opportunity. Maybe, sometime next year, let's do this again. See where we are. So
Yeah, I would love that. I'm actually gonna hold my people to it. So they're gonna get an email from me after this, like, all right, y'all, let's try to have our programs developed by this date. Look, Giving Tuesday is right around the corner. So this is a prime time to start building that out. And then we'll have some great news to share with Ron. And like he said, he's willing to do like an audit and like look at our pages and just like see where we could improve and things like that. So I'm excited. I already said this is a season where I know that I'm going bigger and my mindset is definitely expanding around this area of giving. And I've always said that we just cannot depend on one revenue stream for our organizations. It's just not healthy and sustainable for the health of our mission. So I'm excited to really lock in with this, and I will definitely be scheduling with you a follow up for our community to share the amazing programs that they come up with.
fantastic. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks,
We'll
guys.
see you
Good
guys soon.
night.
Thanks, Portia.
Thank
Bye, y'all.
you. And I'll
Thank
share
you,
the
everyone.
replay. Thank you all.
You.